Hi, how's it going? Welcome to the Relevance rotation. You never heard of this because it's brand new. I'm not even in frame yet. We'll figure that out in 1 second. For people who don't know what this is, which nobody will because I made this up like an hour ago, Relevance rotation is going to be our way to introduce fellow artists and stuff inside of this scene. Today we are going to be introducing and talking a little bit with Outset, who is releasing a song next week called Redbridge on September 25th. And so we're gonna sit down and have a little chat with him. It's like instead of Backlight Noah, it's like if Backlight Noah ate Backlight Noah.
What am I supposed to say to you? Supposedly I fucked your life, lying to myself all over again, cause I know you're just fine.
How's it going, Outset?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
It's going all right with me. For people who don't know who you are, you want to give yourself just a quick, who are you? Give yourself a quick introduction. Who is Outset?
I'm Outset. My real name is Alex. I'm from like the New York, Connecticut area, and I don't really know how to define myself artistically. I have a lot of different inspirations and places that I pull from, but I guess I would say I'm like adjacent to this like hyperpop Midwest emo-y kind of sound. I don't know, I just make stuff that excites me and hope that other people enjoy it too.
You know, you've been in the hyperpop community for a while, or hyperpop adjacent community, at least, how we want to describe it. How did you originally find your footing in the hyperpop community?
I guess when I really started making music, I didn't really like have a footing to say. Like I didn't have any foundation. I never really reached out to any other artists. I didn't like have that kind of community until like 2020 with lockdown and pandemic and everything. There were these people that I had met through like I think it was the Eden Discord. Their names were Kyle, Robert, and Miguel, who's Miko. They kind of just pulled me into like their little circle, and then eventually I got into like the Break-Ins Discord. He was really like up and coming, and that was just like a place that a lot of different artists and wildly talented people were just kind of interacting in.
So you talked to me a little bit about this, and I don't want to mispronounce the name, so I'm guessing it's Armand Petri.
It's Armand Petri.
Okay, so Armand, how did he impact your style and shape how you how you honed your talents in music and that connection?
I love that man, and I'm so glad you're asking about him. So he was one of my professors at SUNY Fredonia, and he basically designed the music industry program. In quick context, I went to a school called SUNY Fredonia. I have a Bachelor of Science in music industry. This guy, Armand Petri, designed that program, and he was the manager of a few pretty popular bands like Pencil and the Richer, and he was the producer for the Goo Goo Dolls. He was one of my professors, and he really shaped my sound. I mean, he provided this perspective to production and to the music industry as a whole that I had just never really heard of before or really seen. I don't want to say that he was eccentric or anything, because he's a great professor and everything. I love the guy, but I think that's just something that like comes with a lot of like successful music industry people.
Well, also that's an artist. Like I feel like artists naturally have that slight eccentricity to them, you know.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Exactly. And he was just such a genius. He was so smart and knew so much about, first of all, navigating the business and like providing like this really fresh perspective about like the legal aspect and things like that, but also the way he talked about production and the way he like forced me out of my box and out of my comfort zone, I think was something I've like really never had before. And it's made me think about making my own music in very different ways, and I'm really grateful that I've had him, professor.
And did he make you a Goo Goo Dolls fan? Or no? Or
Actually, I already was a fan of them. I'd listened to them in high school before, and I really liked them.
I think it's fun because that also means that like, so you listen to him in high school, you listen to Goo Goo Dolls in high school, and then you started, you know, getting the producer of an artist that you were listening to became your teacher.
Yeah, and you know, being able to talk to him about the work he did directly on albums that I had beforehand had no idea that he had worked on, but obviously after meeting him and knowing him, I had known that, and like being able to talk to him and like hear his production choices and the things that he did in those songs was like really, really special.
Then how did your time at Fredonia then help shape that musical evolution that you know have gone through since, you know, when you started in the high school time to like now, where, you know, obviously you had Armand in order to be able to assist that. How has that helped in that evolution piece?
Basically, I started at a school called Bryant University and I was just doing marketing there. And the thing with that school was that it was very small and restricted to just business majors. So stuff like finance, economics, and stuff like that. That was along the right path, but it wasn't, because it was all just kind of like finance bros and stuff that went to that school. There was no real like artistic scene to it. Like there was no other producers as far as I know.
As a fellow graduate of a business school, I feel it. So that's just all that it is.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And so I eventually transferred to this school, which was even better for me. The courses and the program and everything, I'd realized it was like the perfect blend of everything that I was looking for. Like it focused on a lot of business classes, and they made sure that you were getting like a strong foundation of business. And because I had like taken some classes at Bryant regarding business, I had already like a really strong foundation going into it. Additionally, I had these classes from Armand that were like tailored to the music industry, and having those classes and being able to like learn in real time and apply things that we were learning really like helped my growth. Like for things like an electronic press kit, like the thing that I sent you to schedule this interview, I would have had no idea about. And like with the past semester, the student record label, and like really focusing and honing in on social media and like targeting new followers and targeting like, you know, growth that way.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't something I really could have done on my own. Like having kind of this like toolbox, or not toolbox, sandbox, like this kind of way of like exploring it and playing with it.
This has turned into less of an ad about Redbridge and more of an ad about SUNY Fredonia. So everybody, who wants to get into music, if you want to sound like Outset, just go to SUNY Fredonia. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Hey, look, there. I speak positively of it, but there are some truly awful things about that school too.
Just wasn't Armand.
Get into them.
Yeah.
Just not Armand.
Just not Armand. Armand was great.
The golden child of Fredonia.
You sent me in the press kit. We just mentioned that. A few things that you liked, a few inspiration and stuff, and I know that you have inspiration on a lot of different things. So, just rapid fire. Favorite Kanye song?
Right now, it's this song that's called White Dress, and it's this basically the single from a movie, and I don't know what movie it was. It was one of his friends, and it wasn't really that great, but this song is incredible. He was trying to write like Ghostface Killah, and it's just amazing.
I also know that you have an inspiration on like, you know, film, photo, stuff like that. So what are your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? I'll show you actually. I have it right here. It's called Boyhood.
I've actually heard of that. Never watched it, but I've heard of it.
It's fantastic. Basically, they follow the story of a boy growing up, and they film him over 12 years, from like 5 years old to 17 or 18 years old, up until he goes to college. And it's very long, and a lot of people say it's boring, but I think if you can like set aside the time to really pay attention to it, it's beautiful, and it's always deeply resonated with.
You know, you're an enigmatic person. We're learning this already. We've got a random Kanye song no one's heard of. We got Boyhood, which is not on people's normal lists. I also know that you like art. Do you have specific styles of like art that you like that is your favorite?
Right now, I'm pulling from a lot of photography. There's a book I picked up recently called House Hunting by Todd Hito, and it's basically like he just takes photos of people's houses that he finds interesting, and there's something he does where he always looks for a single window lit up, because he thinks he kind of like uses that to represent like someone isolated or someone like in a desolate location, I guess. And yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think the photos are really, really beautiful. They're eye-catching. They're all on film too, which I find impressive because they just look so nice on the paper. So
And the last one, this is kind of more of a quick like shout out stuff. What are underground artists right now that are your favorite that people really haven't heard of much?
Ooh, gosh.
Besides yourself.
Well, there's
Because I hope you
the
like
Enigma.
yourself. The Enigma.
I do. It's hard, like it's weird to say, but I do love the art that I put out,
We'll
But,
take it. Hey, that's good. That's
yeah.
a really good thing. That's really healthy. But yeah, the Enigma. Definitely.
Yeah, the Enigma, he's putting out some incredible work right now. Gosh, who else? Pretty much everyone at AOCMP, like everyone putting out stuff there has been killing it. Vi with Oath in the video game is just incredible. But yeah.
How do you feel like, because we're part of a broad community, we talked a little bit about being introduced to it early on and finding your footing in it. How has being part of the hyperpop community shaped you? And I know that we kind of touched it a little bit, but not only getting into it, but how has it shaped in not necessarily your evolution yet? We're talking about more of like shaped who you are and how your confidence is as a artist, and the type of music that you make because of the people that you're around.
Right, yeah. I would say it's definitely helped me develop my taste a lot. It's because there's so many artists doing so many different crazy, talented, and like in-depth projects. Like, for example, Vi 5000 with Oath, or Subi Club with Laced Up, like things like that. Like, there's so much inspiration to pull from, and I think being in that scene with so much talent and under a community with just so many things happening, it's really helped me find for myself, like, these are the things that I value as an artist, and these are the things that I find cool. And yeah, I guess it's really helped me develop that taste a lot. And as I get older, it's I've gotten a lot more refined and kind of less all over the place.
Is the being in the community and seeing just the vast variety and styles that we see on a day-to-day basis help kind of feed you and allow you to branch yourself out more, where you're like, I'm willing to just take risks because other people are? Or is it more of like, I was gonna do it anyways and I don't care? Like
I guess behind the scenes, yeah, like the stuff that if you look through my project files and the stuff that I just don't really put out, it's all over the place. There's so much crazy different stuff that I do, but I've had to come to terms with the fact that, like, with Outset, it's just one facet of everything that I do, I guess, and it's, I guess, the one that I want to take the most seriously and the most, like, the one I want to put the most effort into, because it's, I think, the most true and accurate representation of myself. But, like, for example, I make a lot of rap music that has no basis, there's no, like, foundational meaning to it or anything, but it's just like fun, and it's just a different outlet for me. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about like, you know, you like graphics, you like graphic design, you like photography, you like film, a lot of other things that aren't necessarily super music related in the sense of that. But I know, but because you've talked a little bit about the inspiration behind that, how has that actually helped influence your sound and your sonic evolution and music based on like your interest in photography? I'm curious how that actually has an influence on the music you're creating.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it goes way back because when I was in middle school, so when I was like 12, 13, 14, I was making a lot of, like, I was doing photography and 3D modeling. Those were my main two like creative outlets. And I was making like YouTube intros and a lot of like CGI like environments and stuff. And in that way, like photography helped like with in terms of like composition and getting the scale of like, you know, a tree versus like the flowers or whatever, right, in like a 3D environment. But also like things like with motion graphics and After Effects with keyframing, you know, eventually when I started production in high school, you know, and I was like learning about like automation clips, I was like, oh, this is the same thing as keyframing. And in like bigger, more conceptual ways, like, oh, in terms of like the arrangement of the song, it's like, it's almost like composing a photograph, or, you know, getting the tension right of a build up to a drop. That's almost like, you know, getting the scale right in a 3D environment. So there are all these little like parallels that I draw all the time when I'm like making music, and I guess exploring myself in all these little ways.
I like that. Makes it feel like, so Redbridge is a photograph of your current state.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's where it is. It's an audio version of a photograph of your current mind and your journey. Is what basically a kind of simplified version of what I feel like you're kind of saying here.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now I want to talk a bit about you know, some of your later work, because you obviously had older stuff that you made a long time ago with like Caved In is a big one that was popular, and Acid Sex Dreams was a very popular one a while back. But now lately you've been making different music too, because that's, you know, Caved In was what, 2020? That's 4 or 5 years ago. So at this point, so it's been a while since you've been making that stuff. So in this, you know, I also want to, because a lot of these songs that you did and a lot of the songs that you have created have also had a lot of collaboration in it. I mean, we can talk about some of the AOCMP music where, you know, you've been producing, you produced or helped produce, because I don't know the whole ins and outs on all of them, but like Attention, right, Cultivation, and Malevolent. I know on Malevolent because I was there on that one, so I remember that one. But then, you know, you also have like collaborated with, as we said before, Miko, and I can't pronounce, is it Sophia? Sophia? Soferic. Okay. Soferic, and then like Freya and Robert Barnes, I've seen that you've done some stuff with before in the past. So how is that collaboration, because that's been something that you've been doing a lot, help influence them now as you take yourself in more of a solo direction with Redbridge, and how the collaboration help influence not just sound, but influence like how you work and your process and a lot of the stuff that you do.
Right.
Sorry, that's a very long-winded question.
No, there's a lot to unpack there. You know, collaborating with you know, those specific artists has been like crucial, I think, to my development. I mean, they have provided like so much perspective on different things, and like they really made the songs that we've worked on together the way they are. And I think collaboration is really important. You know, you say I'm moving to like a more solo direction, but I don't think that's fully accurate, because I think I've come to a realization more recently, especially, that like this isn't something I can do on my own. And like with Redbridge especially, there's a lot of people that I've like gotten input from and like that have really like shaped the song into what it is. You know, like Thomas being one of them. Maycom, some of my older friends like AOCMP and Rhea has also helped with that song. You know, I think collaboration is crucial. I think that as an artist, there's no way I can do it by myself. You know, that the ideas that I have are just impossible to execute alone, and so yeah, I think collaboration is really, really important.
Now I feel like I set myself up to look dumb in that question by saying this solo. But I know I know what he meant. You know, basically what you're saying is that you need more collaboration from fantastic artists such as myself in Malevolent. You know, that's
Yeah, and I think collaboration can help build the solo image, you know. Like behind the scenes, you know, Redbridge might be a solo release, sure, but behind the scenes there are like you know, maybe 5 people that have made that song that what it is.
Yeah. I think like we can see a lot of the stuff like you are very, very well respected in the community where people really know like you are very, very talented. I mean, anybody who tuned in here right now is like probably watching because they're like, dude, this is Outset. We get to know what he's making. Like when
that's so sweet.
I'll say personally, like when we were working on Malevolent, and I had no music knowledge at all, so I'm going in with nothing. And I hear like what we put in and all this stuff, and the things you turned around and turned into the sounds that you made them so quickly too, where it was just like it's like a second language to you. Like it's just like something you just speak is production. so it's truly like I do think that you are that it, you know, collaboration helps, but you also you could do this by yourself because you have so many things that I can tell that you pull from other people. And while, you know, it's not necessarily that you're doing it by yourself in Redbridge, but like you use those assets of those other people to help you, which I love. I love you know, guys, Outset's also super humble. Now we know too, so we can't get him to say anything like that. Okay, so let's get deeper into Redbridge. Okay,
sure.
How does no? All right, I just knocked something over. So we're good. So with Redbridge, how does this, as your newest sound, represent you artistically and personally?
Well, artistically, it's a very long-winded song. Like, you know, the things that I wrote about in the song are like, they almost bear no weight on me anymore. Like, I've moved so far past it and past this like specific moment in my life, but I think that it's really important to put it out and fully just like let go of it. And you know, it's not just the like internal reflection aspect of it, but also like technically, right? Like I can go back almost 3.5, 4 years of versions of this song on my hard drive, like, and just see all of this progression, you know? Like, it's almost sounded so amateur in the beginning versus what it ended up as now. It's just crazy to me how much, you know, like, in the moment it didn't feel like it paid off, like, you know, just waiting and holding on to the song. But then eventually it took my brother kind of telling me like, dude, just put it out already, like it's done, you've done the hard part, like just put it out. And I was like, you know what, you're right, like it is yeah, I've just put the extra mile into like fully solidifying like the visuals and the visual language of how I want to put together like Outset as a whole going forward. And because, you know, the music industry at large has gone so like heavy on short form and even long form content too, you know, I think it's really important that I like have that established piece with like the music video and with this like whole campaign that I'm putting together for it.
You also mentioned that with redbridge coming and all this, that you've starting to establish and set yourself some goals for this new era of yourself of Outset. What are some of those goals, and what do you kind of what's the vision for new Outset or old Outset, depending on just Outset? Never mind, I'm gonna shut up.
Well, in terms of goals, I've had my eyes and my heart set on putting out an album for the longest time, but I think that has slowed me down because I'm too ambitious. Because being able to digest Redbridge as just a single, like, has been so much easier mentally and so much easier to like compartmentalize in my head. But I mean, I don't know. I'd still love to put together an album, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. So for now, I think I'm gonna stick with singles, and I wouldn't say that I have much coming yet, but I'm the kind of artist that wants to do things the right way, and I don't really care if it's gonna take me longer. Like, you know, it might be a long time for another song or another thing to come out, but I want to do it the right way. Like, I want to deliver a polished and refined piece, rather. So yeah.
Outset's Redbridge is a deeply personal project that is dedicated to presenting a new chapter in his musical career, one where he's fully dedicating himself to his craft. This latest release, Redbridge, is his first in 4 years, and it stands as a testament to everything he's learned along the way and a personal challenge to himself to prove that his time spent studying music was not in vain. Over the time he graduated university and is going to be going into a world with a new sound and a new life and a new car, after selling the vehicle that is deeply personally connected and can be seen visually throughout the entire project of Redbridge. In a pivotal moment of his career, Outset is more determined than ever to prove that his journey from the hyperpop underground to the experimental, emotive soundscapes he now creates is only just beginning. His latest release is not only a reflection of his growth as an artist, but a declaration of what's to come. All right. So, big question then. When's it coming out? Where can people find it? Where can people find you?
It is coming out September 25th. The music video coming out in just 4 days, September 22nd. And it will be on all major streaming platforms. I'm on most social media at This Is Outset. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. Only one where my link isn't This Is Outset is my SoundCloud, which is at Who Is Outset. And yeah.
Thank everybody very much. Thank Outset for showing off. And
thank you for having me so much.
No problem.
Lovely time answering your questions. They were very insightful.
Don't Backlight Noah, I'm coming for you, and I might eat you, but like we're good.
Blacklight Noah, he's got to run for his money now.
All right. So thank you guys very much for coming to the Relevance rotation. You have now found out who is relevant, because I am not. He is, and there you go. And everybody, adios.
See you guys. Thank you.
Go